First thing we have on the agenda is the minutes of May 17th, 2023. And you see no changes. You can see anything go with the minutes. Representative Clark. Okay, move that forward there. Next, we have personnel update. Administrative Holiday.
For the month of May and June, there were a couple of changes from last month. One was that we did hire a PSO1 officer, well, PSO1, which is part-time fire person.
Mm-hmm.
And we also about to begin our summer youth program.
Okay.
And that is going to start on the 26th, which is Monday.
Monday.
Correct.
And
We currently have one custodian position still open. Of course, we're still hiring for public safety officers.
mm-hmm.
And we also have the position for the grant manager, as well as deputy city clerk.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. For the summer youth program, how many youth do we have so far?
That is actually been handled through Corey Sterling,
Sterling,
but as of right now, and I'm trying to remember how many I actually sent over.
Uh-huh.
I think it's about 25,
25.
between 25 and 30 students that's actually going through the city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really for sure how many is going through Michigan Works or any. And so we'll probably have that information because it goes through their departments. I can only account for what actually goes through the city.
Okay. I know we don't have. Oh, you can carry. Oh, you go ahead.
That was it. That was the only changes that we had from last month as far as personnel is concerned.
Representative Clark got a question.
So I have seen your post on Facebook about the pay being $10 an hour and $20 a week, age 14 to 15, and also one worker per household. Is that true?
I didn't post anything on Facebook, so I'm not sure. Or Indeed.
Corey Sterling posted that on Facebook.
Honestly, I'm not a Facebook person, so I can't answer that question because I did not see the post. I'm not sure what was on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, I saw the post and I'm asking, what are you paying the kids, and it's $10 an hour and it's 20 hours a week? I think that's what the Clark is asking. Whether it's seen on Play's Facebook or not, is that what you're paying the kids and only doing 20 kids?
As I'm not really sure how many kids it is. It's somewhere between.
So who would know that?
Director level, because everything goes through that department.
Okay,
So I'm not sure how many is actually going to be hired.
Yeah.
That number I do not know. However, the pay rate is $10 an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And it's 25 spots, age 14 to 15.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That was all for personnel.
And I see we have 8 resumes for the finance director.
Yes, we've been in contract negotiations all day, so
I
I
know.
haven't had the chance to
Okay.
look on
Okay.
to see if it was
I'm gonna-
more applicants or not. So.
Okay, I've been checking it out. So
Do you need me to print that out or send it to you, or you already have access?
yeah, I got access to it. I'll get them out. Commissioners. All right, that's it.
Yes.
Any questions? We on HR, human resources. Mr. Turner.
So I see under public works, it says current employees 12.
Right.
We was told that there's only 5 employees. So how is it go from 5 to 12? And if we have 12 public works employees, what are their daily duties? Are these trash pickers, street sweepers? What are these 12 employees are doing? because we were told that there's 5.
Oh.
Because with 12 employees, we can get quite a bit done in Harvard.
I think some of those are working at the water plant. Right, go ahead, Director.
So the Public Works Department is 12 employees under that department umbrella. One will be the supervisor. We have 6 CDL drivers, and that's including the 2 drivers for refuge, for the trash pickup. We have 5 part-time employees, which includes 2 part-time employees for trash pickup.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, City Manager.
these people are working interchangeably.
Okay, doing different jobs, you mean? Go ahead, turn.
So with Public Works, what is their daily operation? Like, is there a set schedule? I come in today, I know today I'm in first floor, I got the X, Y, Z. What does their schedule look like? Because this is an issue in human resource. We need to figure out why we are understaffed in Public Works.
Okay, we'll get, the city manager will get with you on that. He'll send that out to us.
I'd like to know too.
Okay, we'll send it to everybody. But we'll see the schedule. Yes. Yes, we get that out. Is that duly noted, city manager?
So we can.
Thank you. Thank you. You can see what's being done. Thank you so much. Anything else? Okay, good. Do we have anybody else for that custodial job? Any more?
Did interview a person yesterday, so we're moving forward with that. And so it's still a new process because we basically just interviewed yesterday.
Okay.
However, the person we interviewed stated that they could only work like a minimum number of hours. So that's something I do need to discuss further with City Manager Mitchell. Right now, we don't have anyone. And
Okay,
the person that we're looking for, we would rather have on a regular basis from like 7 to 2. However, this person is only available during the afternoon hours, which I'm not for sure how beneficial that would be because most of our offices are closed. So that's something we just need to talk about.
now, this job consists of not just city hall, is it? Police, public safety, water plant?
No, it does not.
Oh,
include
just-
water plant, only City Hall.
Oh, okay.
For the police, for the police staff.
Yeah. Right. Go ahead, Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Has something changed in the, I don't really know how to ask the question because earlier last year, when, or late last year, when we knew that we had lost this person, well, when we lost our custodian, I put it out in the public sphere that we needed somebody to clean.
Right.
Because we're just coming out of COVID and you can look up there where we sit and we pick up each other's germs all the time. You can tell that it has not been cleaned. Even when we had a custodian.
Okay.
It was clean when.
Okay, it's probably not as good as I would probably like it, but yeah. Anyway, when that position became empty, I had people checking with City Hall to apply for this position. And what was I told? I think I still have it in the email, that it was a firm that we had something per charter or something per ordinance or something per somebody. It just didn't sound right to me, but now we got one person that we're hiring and somebody picking and choosing who it is. I mean, how has this been working?
I don't think that's the case, but she's saying somebody is interviewing now.
Okay, is it a person or a firm?
It's a person she's interviewing. Administrator Galladay is.
I guess I'm just asking because this is something that we really need to take a look at.
Correct.
I've done custodial work before,
Okay.
and it can be just as strenuous as any other work,
Yes.
and tedious, and time managed. It can take up a lot of time, and it's not a job for one person.
Okay.
City Hall alone is not a job for one person. You can buy a new mat and put it down, and you can tell that floor is really not clean. It needs at some point to be stripped, and it's a method to it, and redone, waxed, and resurfaced. And you can tell that those out there haven't had it in years,
Okay.
if not decades.
No, it's not the case.
I know how to do them floors.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about, so we won't argue about that one.
We won't argue about it, ma'am, but we would not let the place get where it's unsanitary. The
I didn't
floors
say it was unsanitary.
The floor,
Point of
All
order,
right,
Chair, you
point-
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm just basically stating what I know to be factual, because I know how to strip those type of floors
All right.
with the right substance.
Go ahead,
So,
Ms.
so,
Sanders.
so your position.
I'm not done, excuse
Okay.
me.
Go ahead.
So this is this is a one person that we're looking to interview, or not a firm?
Not a firm, ma'am, it's only one person, which we only had one person actually do custodial for quite some time.
Okay, I didn't know that there was one person. I thought that it was a firm from the answer that I got via email.
It's been one person, we never had a firm.
Okay,
Okay, but-
okay, because that's something we probably need to look at.
Go ahead.
What's wrong with hiring our young kids to be coming here to be custodian?
During the summer months.
I'm pretty sure we can get a high school student, 2 of them, and come in here and clean. That's trustworthy.
Or,
As long as we have somebody willing to be monitor them and say, hey, you're gonna be clean now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're a security guard over them, but giving them somewhat to say, you know what, I'm off the streets. I'm not being confused out here. I have a job in here.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Good.
thank you, Mr.
Good.
Turner.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Henry.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
let me just make something clear, so
All
we
right.
don't go away here with any illusions.
Mm-hmm.
There's a matter of security.
Okay.
There's security in each of these offices.
Correct.
So the person has to pass the muster to
Mhm.
be a custodian here in this building.
Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. So, for the last 9 months, we've had an individual that has been doing the cleaning for City Hall. In the last 6 months, I asked for a contract to see who was the person, and did they have clearance?
Yeah.
Because that was the issue, that someone had to be trustworthy and have clearance.
Mm.
So I still haven't gotten that answer as to how was this person cleared by background check or what?
Mhm.
How many people are in the process? I have no information about this person. We have no information about this person. Now I hear hearsay,
Okay.
but that don't mean nothing.
We approve that check though.
Oh yeah, that check AP list definitely says there's a $900 check written for somebody with a name
Okay.
that does the cleaning of, so, to the chair, I'd like to see that. How did that person get in and what happened? And if we're looking at a new person,
Right.
we need to see the process, because something
Shady.
it just doesn't connect for me.
Well, let's just make sure it's.
So through the chair, I've
Right.
asked this for it more than once.
Okay.
It's got to be agreement with somebody if they're doing the work, Chair.
Correct.
Transparency.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr.
City
Chair.
Manager, speak on that.
I'll answer this one again,
Okay.
and I think Commissioner Henry knows already. It is my assistant who has been doing the extra duty of cleaning the place.
I thought that was rumor.
Go ahead.
No, so,
According to the paperwork that we've seen, it is not the assistants. There's another name on there
Okay.
that's
Oh,
doing that
wow.
cleaning,
Oh, Lord.
so. I don't know what's going on with that.
Unless she got a.
It's another name,
her sister.
and I know exactly,
Her sister was
Exactly.
cleaning with her, but she hasn't been able to do it, so she's been doing it.
but the
by
sister
herself.
name has always been on there
Oh, Lord.
when we signed it,
Okay.
not the assistants. So you said the assistants.
The assistant's the one been cleaning by herself for the last 2 or 3 times, because her sister had an operation.
But it's the sister name on when we pay it.
We'll get it corrected. Let's get that
Okay.
corrected.
And let me just say something about the janitor position. I know for a fact,
Uh-huh,
one person a few months ago who was qualified, has 12 years or more of janitor experience, that
Okay.
applied for that job
uh-huh.
and does not have a record, with passed the clearance and everything, and that person was not called. That person had an interview and everything and was not hired. So I keep hearing that we can't find anyone.
Mhm.
I know it's not a big qualification to be a janitor, but I know this one person for sure had all the qualifications
Okay.
and would have passed everything.
Did that person interview?
I just said the person that did the interview.
She did do the interview?
He did the interview.
He did the interview.
Yes.
I can attest, everyone that we interviewed, we went through that whole process. Not one person that interviewed, we didn't actually go through the whole process because we're actually looking for someone. Even if they didn't have that experience, we kind of went through the
What process? What
as
process?
far as background and things. of
Okay,
the
this
sort.
person I know would have passed the background, so I don't know what you, okay, so I'm gonna say it was Miguel.
I don't know.
He's got about 15 years of experience, and he don't have a record, anything else. And he's got about 50, he's did it janitor for years, hospital and other places. So I know this, he would have passed everything.
That's a personnel matter. We ain't gonna
Well, I'm
discuss
just
that right
saying,
now.
so don't
Okay.
say that and don't tell me he did
He's not
this
employed.
person,
Okay,
the
point
person
of
did
order,
not
let's
pass.
just stay, we talk
Yeah,
about
well,
the position.
she said the person did not pass, well, nobody don't pass, and I know this person would.
Well, I
So
don't-
that's why I wasn't saying the name. And personnel is still part of the budget in which we come in, and it tells you in policy and procedure that it is time when we have to do administrative things.
Right.
It's in the policy and procedure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, any more questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rev.
So I have, is the pay $14 still? What is
It
the
was
pay?
never $14. The pay for part-time, all part-time employees is $13.17.
It's part-time?
And yeah,
Yes, ma'am. The
And then it went-
position's always been part-time.
then it went from
position.
7 to 12 to now 7 to 2.
It's always been 7 to 2,
Okay, I don't know what I did with that pay.
Oh, okay.
7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you, Commissioner Henry.
This got my head spinning.
All right, don't get your head.
Because,
Relax.
because we are needing
The position.
that position. I'm tired of being locked out of the bathroom
Mhm.
because we don't have anybody
We
to
should keep.
supposedly take care of it. And so who's making these rules that we keep acing out our employees, our residents? Who makes the rules that they have to be this and they have, I understand clearance,
Mm-hmm.
but who? You're saying that part-time get paid $12.13? Who made that rule?
The union. It's all like negotiated with the union as far as like the base salaries and raises and things of the sort.
Okay. All right, I can see that, but everyone knows to get a people out of devastating things that's happening to them is one of them is poverty. Take them out of poverty. I can't believe that we're paying somebody less money to live in an apartment in our own city. So I'm thinking that's wrong. Something's wrong with that picture. If we have to pay our people less money than they can live off of, something is wrong with that picture.
Where we can let 30-some million just come in and walk back out right down the highway.
I'm having a problem with that. Do anybody else see a problem with that?
Yes.
I'm talking to the chair.
Yes, yes, we know the
Is
position needs to be
it
filled.
anything that we can wrap our heads around and change that? Because it's not, I wouldn't work for it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to work, and you only gave me a part-time job, and then you didn't give me enough to pay the rent or child support? Come on. No wonder people are crying about $16 an hour.
Okay, go ahead, last
Is there a
question.
breakdown of how much each person can pay the City Hall? Like city managers down to the flunkies?
We'll get that to the commissioners. It's not,
So I have to issue a FOIA?
well, I don't know what you can do, but I'm just, you know.
That was a request.
First of all, there are no flunkies that work here.
Well, that was in,
Yeah,
but that was a request, Chair.
okay.
And,
The first
and,
part.
and
The city
and the
clerk, right?
request was given immediately, and today is another day.
All right.
Can we get
Thank
that answered quick?
Duly noted. Thank you, City Manager.
We sent the email a couple days ago.
We don't know custodian.
Okay, custodian
He
position.
said that he was sending to Commissioner Henry that the request was that I was.
So, yeah,
thinking we
last
also
question.
requested.
Go ahead.
Can we all do it?
We'll send it to
Thank you,
everyone.
appreciate it.
I've been in negotiations all day
Okay.
today. That's why I haven't sent
Okay.
it out.
That's okay. Correct.
And I'll send a FOIA.
Go ahead, last
Oh,
question.
You don't
so,
have to send it for you,
Why not?
because I'll do my job and get it to them. I told them. I
I said for me.
Go ahead.
are for these jobs that people applying in our interview, are they leaving a message, anybody leaving a message saying for accepting interview, or is that one? What's
That is going directly through Director Little as well as Corey Sterling. Corey is the director of the Summer Youth Program,
No,
so
not talking
you're
about something.
stating interviewing. I'm not interviewing, that's what I'm asking, I'm answering. That's going directly through Corey Sterling and Director Little.
I'm not talking about the summer, I'm talking about the custodian job.
The custodian job,
Yeah.
as far as interviewing,
Interview, like they didn't call back for a second interview, it was a two-part interview, or just one part?
it's only a one part interview.
Okay.
Unless it's needed for a second interview.
So when if they did the job, you would call and say, come sign your paperwork, or,
I mean, it's a process with anybody as far as the hiring goes. So therefore, the interview is one. After the interview is discussed with the department head as well as the city manager and myself regarding if you want to hire this person or not. Actually, the department head has a lot to say since that's their own department as far as who they will hire, who they will not hire. After that, yes, the candidate receives an email stating that, yes, you've been selected and for the hiring process. This is the next step, which is the background. So after the background, once that is done, they also have set an appointment as far as like a physical and drug screening. Once that is completed, another email is sent out stating that it's like a conditionary hire offer letter. And it goes from there, basically. Depending on what the job is, it might be extra steps and it might not.
Dr. Time.
Yeah, I don't want your question. There was an implied statement that personal preference of the department head chair of that individual would be important in the hiring, not necessarily the qualifications and specifications of the job. So if the person meets the qualifications and specifications of the job, then if the department head doesn't like the person, then the person's not hired even though they're qualified. That was actually implied. So I'm actually maybe to clarify that.
It goes, so in an instance like that, it basically goes back to the city manager. As far as like who actually gets hired, but yes, the department head actually holds a high reference to who that person hires in their department with the qualifications and things of the sort.
In other business arenas, there has to be a statement of fact that says, okay, we have a, right, and this is just federal, state, whatever. that once the person says, okay, you turning down a qualified applicant, therefore there is a justification as a reason why EEOC that this person was turned down, not based on personal preference. So there is, when that department head says that, this young lady sitting right there, I don't want to hire her. I'm looking to hire somebody else. And that person can't just say that. They will say, well, what I wanted was a person who can work this truck or vehicle, and this person not qualified. That there is a reason why that person was the selection. Or is it just an open statement by like a football team, you hire this coach, you don't hire that coach, and you just move forward that way? I'm not clear
No,
on the
if a
process.
person goes through the process and not hired, they do receive a letter stating.
They do
They
receive letters.
receive a letter stating the reason why they're not hired. That's what
Okay.
you're asking.
Okay, right, so that comes from, so the department head will give a rationale why the qualified applicant was not hired.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they do not.
So there's not consistency, is what you're saying, in the hiring process.
It's consistency, but you're asking specific questions. So
No, I'm just
depending
asking
on what
policy
the job
protocol.
is, well, I'm stating it depends on what the job is and where the job lies, to be honest with you, as far as if that department head would give a logical reason why this person would not get hired. I mean, that's completely above my pay rate. As far as that goes, I just do as I'm told, sir. So you're asking like
No, what I'm
specific
asking is your
questions. I'm telling you
standardization.
the-
What this, I don't hear standardization, I hear variation and not standardization.
Can I ask a question?
Just
Just
a
keep up.
just a second. Wait a minute. Point of order. Wait a minute.
Point
Point
of order.
point
Point
of
of
order.
order, man.
Wait, is he saying that 3 people have qualifications and just?
Let him finish. Let him finish this.
I'm trying to understand.
Okay, just.
In terms of the chair, the vice chair, in terms of personal finance, one of the things that this committee is held to is a high standard of standardization. That, so therefore the process can always be the same for each applicant, regardless of race, color, creed, etc. When you have a variation in personality, then that causes a lot of other ramifications. So that's not you're right, that's not your call. It just means that the policy and procedure manual has to be looked and reviewed in terms of personnel, because this is not standard governmental operation for any municipality, state, federal institution, or business. So I was thinking of business law, that statement is innocent, but it wouldn't kind of fly.
Thank you, Dr. Todd.
Thank
you.
I mean, more laws.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it. We move on to the text.
For the
Go ahead. You got one last question.
I have a question in regards to the conversation that we just had. Is this something that really needs to go through legislation to look at the policies and process of the city ordinances and stuff? Because something evidently needs to change. I'm hearing a lack of transparency and your favorite words, following the process.
Right.
Okay, well, which process? Is the one that we make up going all along as we go? Or what? A process that's already in place that needs to be followed?
Right.
I need to know.
Well, I don't know. Look, I think the city is an equal opportunity job, right? That's what it is, right?
We
We
all,
got HR right here.
we all
She go through the process of the hiring process,
are involved in.
union, non-union, I guess.
I'm not pointing a finger at one
No.
department. I'm saying overall,
Mm-hmm.
city government, period.
Right.
When it comes to process,
Mm-hmm.
accountability and transparency, something legislatively needs to be looked at
Okay.
on a procedural level
Okay.
of policies, ordinances,
Mhm.
and changes. so that things are clearer. Because it shouldn't take all of that type of explanation. And in this day and time that we live in, it should be so clear that a baby should be able to understand it.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Carry on, Administrator.
The income tax
Yes,
update.
yes.
You ought to be ashamed.
For the month of May, individual returns, the total is $31,308.81. For withholdings, $166,693.04. Total deposits, $241,659.69. Total refunds, $38,294, with a revenue of $43,657.84. For June to date, for the individual returns, is $1,004.50. Withholdings, $124,974.28. Total deposits, $128,253.78. Total refunds, $7,927, with a revenue of $2,275. Our year-to-date totals for individual returns is $114,365.34. Withholdings, $961,581.91. Total deposits, $1,165,922.09, with total refunds of $125,759, with a revenue of $89,966.84.
Okay. With that, with the refunds, that's like individuals or companies are paying overpayments and stuff, things like that. Any questions?
No. Clear.
Commissioner Adams?
Sure.
Yes,
Oh,
Madam
thank you, sir.
Madam
Thank you.
Commissioner Adams.
I've had a couple of residents ask me, and I don't know what it means.
Okay,
Why haven't we gotten our taxes yet? I don't know what that means. I
the
don't know.
taxes,
From the city.
I'm still processing tax.
Okay, see, now I would have known that. And you probably wouldn't have either, would you?
thank you,
Okay, I just
Commissioner.
had the residents to ask me though, why have they not gotten their taxes? I don't know what that means.
The tax refund?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming that,
Okay,
Ms. Holiday just said that she's still working on some things, so I'm assuming that that's what it is. I don't know. But now they should. Y'all better be watching YouTube.
we did have a revenue made with the income tax. The revenue was 89.
So far to date,
To
yes,
date.
$89,966.
That go from first of the year to the end of the year, not the city official.
Not the city.
Oh, okay, okay. You got a question?
No.
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
So with the taxes, do the companies take out how do the requests for the city income tax come up out with the paycheck? Do the company take it out, or does he ask the company to take it out? Like what the
company takes it out. We do have an ordinance in place that was approved by the commission, that if a business is actually located in the city limits of Benton Harbor, they do not have a choice. They have to withhold city income tax from their employees. However, if you work for a company that's outside of the city limits, they have a choice if they actually withhold the income tax or not. But it's still up to that resident to pay their city income tax.
Yeah.
See, that's
I can attest to that because I work outside the city. My job would not take the taxes out, so I gotta bring my money here, file here. Dr. Times?
Yeah, just, two questions. One is a business. Yeah, we're obligated to do them automatically. So just like any other tax, any other city tax, state tax, federal tax, is all taken at the same time and paid and put in escrow. And then that's how they get it, then you get the reimbursement in a year. But what I'm hearing is that the whole income tax now has been turned in-house. There's no other outside entity, because to me, that's an extra job for you to be also going through and auditing and sending out refund checks to people. And I didn't think that was a part of the job description, but maybe an error in how this is done out there.
It's always been that way, nothing has changed.
Okay, so put it on this.
Can you speak into the mic, please? Everybody, please, because you can't hear it
Oh, you can't.
on YouTube.
Yeah, the initial format when the city income tax was first formed, it was to make sure, in terms of not just transparency, but also to make sure that there would be no misbehavior or misdeeds, and it was being contracted out with a private entity to manage that and to give reports, to work with the finance director and city manager, et cetera. And then I know under the city manager Watson, they changed that and brought it in-house. And I know the commission at that time didn't know that took place and what kind of structural format was set up. So that's what I was speaking to. I didn't know as far as the extent that you became a tax entity where not only do you collect taxes, you reimburse taxes, and you submit the tax reports to the federal government, et cetera. I didn't know that the city had took your department and moved it into that realm. That was what I was just getting clarification on.
And we need
It's,
okay.
Go ahead.
So the city income tax was voted on in 2008 when Darwin Watson was the city manager, so it was never actually transferred over when he became city manager. That was all done while he was city manager. At that particular time, I was working in the city manager's office. The income tax has always been something that I did. It was never transferred over. It was never a third party per se. I'm not really for sure where that came from. When the city income tax actually, when we started it, Grand Rapids, since they're like the model per se, aid absolutely came in to actually show and make sure we were following things correctly. So it was never, they were never actually doing our tax returns or anything of the sort. It was always done in-house.
Correction, point of information. Number one, that sitting on the tax board review that was put in place by the governor and with the commission of review of record, that one of the telltale things was to make sure that we would be in compliance, and you're actually right, Grand Rapids and an organization was actually to assist in monitoring and doing that for us in such a time later on, but it wasn't, the city was going to do that right up front. That was not the original format and design, and I can attest to being directly there at the time. And if you check your notes, your records at that time, you will find that was not the case.
All right, thank you,
They
Dr.
may have done that, but that's not how the commissioners have voted on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sam.
That was 2008, was still 2018, was it?
No,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
2018.
It was, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
I did say something.
And Minister Galladay, we do, I know I noticed on the budget, we allotted for compliance.
Right, and we're still in negotiation over that.
Okay.
And I think we probably have a solution per
Okay,
se to
okay.
kind of work with another department that's actually
It's good.
we're coming up with something as far as the compliance piece of it.
All right, thank you.
And we also, we also need to come back with a compliance as far as enforcement as well before we even start the compliance piece.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Adams.
May I?
Yes, Madam.
Thank you. I know it's probably easy for some people to skip over this, but I think that it's something that Dr. Tynes has brought up.
Okay.
It needs to be addressed. We let it go on too long, and I was just sitting here thinking about it, and it has does it not reflect on Ms. Galladay personally at all. It was city management, past city management's doing, but she's over HR. She's not finished with people asking, what about, where their taxes? I had no idea, and I wouldn't have known had she not mentioned it.
Okay.
There's supposed to be per charter, somebody over that department. There's supposed to be, am I right, Rhonda? The city's tax,
Ministry.
no. What's missing?
Finance director.
Finance director. Thank you. Is supposed to be the one to position all of these positions to ensure that things are taken care of, and they are the overseer.
I don't think.
I mean, that's what I read in our charter. If I'm wrong about what I'm reading in my charter, tell me what yours read.
Minister Galladay, could you explain but the finance director
No,
is
I'm talking
separate?
about our charter that we have to follow.
The
Elected officials.
It's more related to the city income tax.
Yeah, I'm talking about the finance director related to the city income tax. How is that formation?
Right, I don't think it's in the charter because city income tax wasn't even in existence when the charter was made. However,
She's right. It just speaks of our taxes, period.
How's that umbrella then?
Right, it's under, I report directly to the city manager. However, the city manager, according to the Michigan Income Tax Authority, only gets what you guys receive, which is the general numbers, because it's actually against the law to actually see individual people tax returns and things of the sort. And just to answer the question, the reason why I'm still doing tax returns, most of the cities in the state of Michigan have a whole department with more than one person. This city only has one person.
Okay, and I'm not only
right, which I'm stating that you, like anyone, that I think the refunds, most people, when they turn in their tax returns, expect a refund like the next week or something of the sort, which the federal government doesn't even do that. So I think like, just some leniency with some of this,
So you're doing a good job.
it's not, no one has gone 6
Right,
months
that's what I'm
without
saying.
a refund or anything of the sort. It's coming along pretty good.
All right, Ms. Hildebrand?
Yeah, I would say just personally, and some people that I know that have paid income tax and are expecting a refund, their refunds, especially this year, were turned around very fast and got them well within 3 weeks. So a lot of how she processes is when she gets it.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
We don't know, right.
Because I found out beyond here that there are people that don't even realize that they have taxes just sitting.
So
And it's not your fault. I mean,
she's current, but if the person is slow with turning it, she's gonna keep processing because people are still turning in their taxes.
and we do things on our own time, so I'm just saying it personally.
That's good. Dr. Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah,
Last
Honorable
question.
Chair, two things. She confirmed, what I was saying earlier, that normally there's a department, one person isn't giving all of these tasks and the monitoring, but also the Vice Chair, Singleton could do attest. Remember that in this whole process of the city income tax, safeguards were put in place, and one of the issues was the monitoring by the personal finance of the city income tax. And actually, if you remember, that's a personal committee That's what was the problem with when the gentleman who left, that he was responsible for the oversight of the income tax and was not given access and resigned. So it is a important issue. Thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead, Ron.
I think the law of income tax needs to be looked at. I've been sitting here as a finance person for almost 8 years. I do not have, and it's not just because I'm contracted, I do not have access to what she's doing, and that's the law.
That's the law,
It's been
yeah.
that way for any finance person that's come in here.
Mhm.
We oversee the money that comes in, we account for it, we have to as finance people, but we cannot have access to the data that she has that's confidential, and that's why there are laws that it just can't be managed by a finance director. It's got to be within its own department,
So,
and
it's the law.
it's treated totally different.
But it's not HR.
Correct.
And I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well,
But,
she's been named the.
I mean,
income tax.
we can put a name on anything, I mean, but
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Last question.
Under page 12 of the city charter, it breaks down who reports to who.
Okay.
That's page 12 of the city charter.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Thank you. Dolly, thank you. All right, moving forward.
we moving forward to. Oh, wait, man.
Next, we have the
Wait,
finance, we got the
I'm
finance.
tripping. Then we had moved on beyond the changes from last March. I didn't know that we had moved beyond that.
Yeah,
Because I think that's something that needs to be discussed. And our block grant dollars. Is this
Finance.
the time that we're going to do some renegotiating with our budget?
No,
No, why?
it's not on the agenda.
I mean, we're talking about finances.
Yeah, but,
If the budget is not on the agenda, that, can you hear that? It's not on the
What are we
agenda.
discussing? Nothing.
Financial report.
huh?
May financials and update.
Yes.
It's shady. It's some shady.
Turn the light bulb on.
What it is.
Turn the light bulb on.
It's shady.
Oh, go ahead.
Sent out the financial results for May.
Mhm.
One thing that was received this month in the financials is the city gets, money from the local stabilization act, LCSA for property taxes. That were, removed from the municipalities. The state is making that up. Every
Mhm.
year you get something in October timeframe and something in May, February to May. And this, the city got approximately 300,000 for that
Okay.
to make up personal property tax. Cash wise, still pretty much the $1.7 million is gone.
Mhm.
Used to pay past bills and current bills.
Mhm.
The utility fund is, received about $100,000 of payments in May, which is almost 200,000 less than normal.
Mhm.
And I checked to see mid-June how much had been received, it was about 35,000. So not even collecting enough to pay for the 45,000 trash bill
Yeah,
that we're sending out.
because
So,
of the water relief,
right.
so nobody's not paying.
Yeah, the people that got the 700 that we're paying,
How's that working?
they're not gonna have to pay for several months because they have credit on their bill.
What about the customers that was delinquent?
Payment plans, I don't think many have been set up and a few maybe making payments, but.
Oh, okay, it's not
So cash is definitely
low.
still an issue. Now, this month, June,
Mhm.
did receive the revolving fund payment from county, and about 500,000 went to the city, 300,000 for property tax, and
Mhm.
200,000 for delinquent utilities. We roll about 500,000 delinquent utilities to the tax rolls. We've collected probably 300,000, including the 200 that the revolving fund gave.
Okay.
So the cash is still short.
In both general and
both
utility.
general and
Utility.
On another note, the city filed, there was a grant for your pension,
Mhm.
to give relief to entities that are below 60% funded. The city is 38% funded,
Mhm.
and city manager and I filed June 12th, for that grant, and should hear something relatively soon. It sounded like they were going to announce. And if you got the full amount to get you from 38 to 60% funded, it would be about $6 million. So we're hoping that.
Added to the pension.
They will, right,
Mhm.
and the money will go directly
To the-
from the state into the nurses.
Oh, good.
So hopefully that will come through.
I thought it was 39%.
It's ranged between, well, this was from 2021, it was 37.8%. Is what we reported for 2021, the pension actuarial. So it's low, very low.
Is that for the Act 202?
Pardon me?
What act that's part on
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Numbers. I have other
That's what-
numbers that I remember.
So that would reduce the city's liability once you get up to that 60%.
Right, and hopefully what it will do is reduce how much annually you have to pay, because you're so short funded into the defined benefit plan.
Mhm.
We pay 100 and some thousand, it's over $1.5 million in a year of your budget of how much you collect.
Mhm.
That amount has to go right into the pension, and it's a sizable amount. So hopefully with this, they'll bring the money in, look at the picture, and then reduce your payments in,
Mhm.
so you're not paying $1.5 million or $1.4 million every year.
Pension,
That's
yeah.
a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
A lot of money. And it's to make up for the past.
Dr. Tom.
Through the chair, you made a statement earlier, and I've been allowed clarification. In terms of the water the water bill relief that was done, the $700 that was credited to the patient, credit to the residents, it was implied that that money didn't really do anything to make an impact, but didn't that money go to the city to the utilities, or that money went nowhere? Because you implied like it didn't really make a difference.
Well, it did. I mean, the city owed money to vendors, and this helped pay vendors because we were very short cash. So the money did come into the system. It went into the utility fund and the general fund, because the utility fund owes general fund money. And it was used to pay bills for the city, because the city, at $100,000 a month, it doesn't support, that kind of cash receipt won't support a water plant.
Right, so there was a substantial benefit of that relief that did have a positive impact on the city.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
that's what make sure I was clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to go back to, the good stuff that I was hearing about the taxes, the pension. And I think that, Commissioner Singleton had touched base on it. I just need clarity on the amount that the state is about to give. We're gonna claim it, and pay down on our pension that's owed will alleviate us from having to spend so much out of our general fund every year for how long before it catches back up to us.
We should not touch that.
Okay, and that's what I need.
Right, because when they go and they compute the pension liability,
Yeah.
they look at what they're gonna have to pay out in the future.
Okay,
So the liability is like 18 million. And it's astronomical, but it's because they're looking forward to see how much they're gonna have to pay out
Okay.
for the people that are already retired and the people that are gonna retire.
okay.
This will definitely, and I'm hoping, I don't know exactly how they're gonna do it, but I'm hoping they'll lower what the city's
Have to pay.
liability is each year.
Okay.
Because right now, it's $1.5 million, and if they don't do anything, you're gonna be paying over 2 million
Okay.
in 5 years, and 2.5 in 6 years.
So my question becomes now, it, like bonds and things like that, that may be renegotiable, refinanceable.
Mhm.
The pension doesn't work
Well,
like
I'm
that.
hoping.
Okay, because
That's
I've been
what I'm
talking to
saying.
EPA
Right.
and we've been discussing those type of things about
Right.
refinancing.
You did that last year, and I don't know if you remember, you gave, city manager the authority to renegotiate. You still have an amount owed on the emergency loan.
Right, right.
Well, interest rates dropped, they allowed you to apply to what you're saying, refinance.
We
And that's what you did.
expected for that to be just totally wiped out though, one day real soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we think.
But at least it's going to principal, the payments are going to principal, not interest as was negotiated
Okay.
back in.
Okay, I just needed that clarity so I can
I'm
deal with the
hoping.
question or the other solution to
Right, and
question
I'm
that
hoping that,
Dr. Tam was talking about.
I'm hoping they will treat
Yeah.
this like a refinance.
Yeah.
That your obligation will go down.
Yeah.
Because you don't owe as much.
Exactly, Thank you.
Mr. Turner,
I have 2 questions.
okay.
Number one, how many accounts do the city have
How many accounts, bank
Yes.
accounts?
total?
Oh, I don't know offhand, but there's like 11,
Okay.
maybe.
So
There
my
are
second-
several. It's, the city keeps their accounts by fund. So, for instance, we have a bank account for CDBG, a bank account for general fund, a bank account for major local streets. We have multiple bank accounts. For the ARPA money,
Mhm.
we set up a new account for that, so it was segregated, it wasn't mixed in. Same thing with the income tax. So I don't know the exact number, I can get that for you, but we keep track of things specifically by fund and by tax.
Okay, so I'll be glad to get the number back to me. So my second question is, once the council gets the funding and the funds goes out, is there a record, something like this here, who get paid what?
For all the.
So like on the general account, right?
Employee.
You say here the general fund is low. Can we get a detail of why it's low? Because sometimes we do know that when the money goes to general funding, it goes out. And there's no bookkeep on when it goes out to general funding.
Yes,
I
yes.
have
That's
to-
good.
we have to
Book,
keep-
gotta keep.
Well, we know we have history.
Well, that's history.
Oh, no,
we talking
no.
about.
Well, we know today.
Let me say one thing, you would not have a clean audit
That's right.
if we did not keep track of by fund, by money source,
That's right.
what money is going out. And it's gotten even more complicated because the city's getting money from the federal government and they have stipulations as well as far as how we keep track of it. And so there is accounting for every dime. that comes in.
Okay, so for example, if I send a FOIA into the city office today on the details of the face mask and hand sanitizer, I can get the invoice.
We can tell you what's been paid and we can get a copy of the invoice. You can see what department got charged. If it was.
I'll do it tonight, for example.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
One more question. Go.
Okay. I got just 2 questions. One, clean audit is not a forensic audit. It means that certain sections are audited in a particular business or municipality or even on the state level. It's not a thorough investigation of the whole total budget. The specific items are done. My question to you is that those who retired, is there a survivor's benefit or just for that employee who retired? And the second is for the general, these funds, ARPA funds and other, does the law allow for them to be in interest-bearing accounts? Those are the two questions.
Okay, the first one is the designation of a survivor. Is that what you're on a pension? That would be, I'm guessing that MERS allows that. I mean, most pension systems do allow survivorship. I know some of the old records that we saw, they were allowed survivorship benefits. I don't directly deal with the MERS applications and what people choose and what their choices are. But most pension systems do allow. And what it does is they end up, you get less of a benefit if you do survivorship than if you were just taking it for yourself. There usually is a choice.
So what you're saying is that you can have the survivor or it has the dependent, and you can have your first degree would be the spouse, and then what you're making me think is that you can have the spouse and then the children underneath, and it'd be less, or is it just the employee and the spouse, or employee and the spouse and or designated dependent?
Depending on the plan, it is usually, like a defined benefit plan usually is just the employee and the spouse. There's no, but, and I can't tell you the specifics of the plan here. Some of them, if you have made a contribution into the plan, like a defined contribution, the rules for that are different. It may be able to be given to a child, a beneficiary. I don't know how that works.
It is called what you similar to when you talk about the spouse is a joint annuity. If they file for that, if the employee file joint annuity, and it's a whole lot of other factors go in there, and the actuary comes up with these different numbers. If the spouse is certain age, if it's younger than the employee, there's a different amount, so it's a whole lot of other factors, but it is, it is a position in there for if you file for joint annuity, and then what you get paid out or what the spouse get paid out is based on a whole lot of numbers.
Second question.
On ARPA, I panicked because we did put ARPA, when we first got it, into an interest-bearing account, and I went, oh my gosh, usually federal funds you can't, so I thought we were gonna have to move it out. But then the federal government came out quickly and said you can put the money in an interest-bearing account, and we do have it. And you can, if you did in the past, you would have to pay that back to the federal government. You could put it in, but you couldn't keep the interest. Well, with ARPA, they have allowed municipalities to put it in an interest-bearing account and to keep the interest. And you are earning interest, about 4% on what you have in the account.
Any other money that came in through the pandemic, or that's allowing you to put them in an interest-bearing account or even the water?
You mean like the
The money that came
SLR type
in that-
money?
from the
That
pipeline
money
that
hit
had
and
to go
got
out?
spent. That money was not really in accounts long enough because it was needed.
To bear interest.
Right.
That's
This
good.
was a substantial amount that we knew we wouldn't spend right away, so we wanted to get it into an interest-bearing account.
So I got a couple of questions. First question is, how long do you have to work for the city to receive a pension?
I'm not a pension expert. That really would have been Lisa's,
Scholars.
how long you can start, okay, you can participate, is that your question?
Yeah.
In the pension after you've been with the city 2 months. Okay, you have to wait 2 months really for any benefit. It's how, you hire, it's the second full month after you start, so you can start then.
And my other question is, we've been seeing a lot of grant. Do they go in general fund or another? What that grant money go?
How we've taken care of the grant money, before before, when there were small amounts coming in, we do take into the general fund, the Department of Justice money, because it's used for police. So you have to look where the money is coming in. Is it coming in to be used in the general fund? The ARPA money, we set up in its own fund, and as we used it, if the utility used it, then I moved it into that fund. The lead service line, it's in the utility fund, but I separated it in the accounting system, so all the money is going into buckets and all the spending is being tracked by revenue source. So when you do get audited, I can come up with how much was spent for the EPA, how much was spent for money received from the state. There's also been another fund set up for, there's gonna be a substantial amount for Ox Creek. We're not gonna mix it in with the other places, the general fund, because it's better something of that size to set up on its own, so all the expenses can be tracked. And that's how we track the money coming in, money going out. And we call it a federal fund,
Interest bearing,
federal grant fund.
interest bearing.
No, we haven't set up a bank account yet for that because we haven't received any
Right,
money
no, I'm
for
saying,
it.
considering that our Fed set a precedent when the funds do come in, see if it's possible to do interest bearing, put an Ox Creek fund.
The only thing, if it's going to be, if it's like the lead service line, we have to spend the money as requested. So it doesn't even have time to hit any bank to earn interest, unlike ARPA that they gave to us. And we could put it somewhere until we spent it. We want to make sure you're in interest bearing account. The income tax money is also interest bearing account. So.
Look, Commissioner Singleton.
It just clarify the question that member Miguel Clark talked about, the pension, how long you have to work. It's a lot of it is to do with contractual, but you have to work so many years to become what they call vested in the pension. Once you vested, then that means that you will get some type of pension. If you retire early, it's a percentage. Again, it's a bunch of numbers, If you stay the full, like in the police department, it was 25 years and you could, get full benefit. And then after the vested point, you would only get a certain percent if you retired, say if you retired early, but you still vested. They break it down to like the number of years you worked and stuff. So it's a lot of numbers in there. Some people who, they start taking money out as soon as you work for the pension. And say if you leave before you get vested, you get the money back that you put in, not the employee's contribution, but you get not the employer's contribution, but you get what you invested in. And I think a certain percent interest or something was added on that, I think.
Commissioner Singleton, a question on, a lot of corporations are doing like a 5-year partial investment. You can be fully vested or partially invested. Policies that you're speaking, are those still there, or there hasn't been an update?
Ms. Gallaudet, she can answer.
Yes, the pension that Commissioner Singleton is speaking of is no longer in existence for new hires as of 2013. As of 2013, any person that is hired is automatically under a hybrid plan, and the vesting period is 5 years.
5 years.
Commissioner
Two things. I heard mention about Ox Creek and how that those funds are going to another fund, but usually they have to spend and wait for reimbursement. By the time all that happened, we'll be got some more money for that project. Or we're gonna go after some more. My question is the ARPA funding. we received this money, what, 2 years ago, and we have until next year to spend out? Yeah, yeah. Are we going to get some more opera funds? Okay, okay, I was just wondering, I thought I heard that last night, but,
Especially Republican.
okay, it may come, but not in the form of opera.
They trying to get it
Something
right.
else, yeah, okay. All right.
Go ahead, Mr. Turner.
On the ARPA fund, can we get some trees cut down? I got a few trees that I can go spray paint and cut down.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Here's some sidewalks.
Okay, working on sidewalks already.
There's a tree
Out of
program
third
too.
ward.
There's a tree
So-
program too.
Are we still working on this, or was that complete? Because I would just like to know how much tax revenue between last year, how much revenue shares, or was there an increase last year as opposed to the year before? And what do we expect next year? Revenue shares, state.
Yes, there was a little bit of an increase this year, it's gonna be a little bit increase next year, and also there's 68,000 extra that was received and designated for policy.
How they gonna designate our money? Just send us our stuff. We'll take care of it, but
Go to state.
I guess my question becomes, I never saw the 100%, or I guess I never knew what the 100% of state revenue shares were that were taken in the first place. And I'm saying this because I was at a meeting over at the county, and this has been every bit of 8 years ago. And there was a gentleman that was there from the state, and he was informing us then that we were about to get back 100% of our state revenue shares. And we were very happy and excited about that. That evidently has not happened. I'm gonna go and pull those minutes. I'm gonna get with Jeanette and get those minutes, because
Yeah. Yeah, but two pieces that come to the city.
from the state,
Yeah, not that there isn't.
I guess we have to know what 100% was. Right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the meeting tonight. Meeting's adjourned, huh?
This was the last thing that you did a stage in terms of the monies
Wait,
that coming from public safety, money that's coming from public safety. Do that give any relief to the city in terms of the budget for the police? Because that's the highest drawing department there is.
It's only 68,000, so that's kind of
But
it's a little bit.
the police budget is over $1 million,
It's $2 million,
$2 million.
$2.5 million. So it's a little bit, and not anything that I would call substantial.
Well, 68 is a salary, so.
Okay, better than nothing. I wouldn't turn it away, but it's
We ain't
not.
turning away nothing. But we got a whole lot of projects, but my question becomes, that Commissioner Henry opened up last night. I'm waiting on the balance. The can of worms she opened last night on overall funds. It's just sitting there, been sitting. I'm wondering if it's drawing any interest. What was it? It was, we were talking about,
Franchise,
communication.
Yeah, you were
funding.
gone. I think you were gone. I
franchise.
think she specified for her, because I think she was
Yeah,
gone.
I had that written down as a note.
She got it.
Those notes.
No, she was.
Oh, the
I
franchise
was
piece?
here, yeah.
You were talking about the can of worms, so I thought it was later
I
on in the
didn't know
meeting.
which one. Those monies go into the general fund and get spent with all the other money that comes into the general fund for general operations of the city.
That's just
They're
what
not restricted.
Now, but
Pardon?
it doesn't have to be that, does it?
No, if you want to make it restricted or it need to be voted
Earmark.
to be restricted for a certain purpose.
Mhm.
It's called
And there
earmark.
are- Right, you can restrict money
like Manchester, Bidwell,
All right,
Arts
thank
and
you.
Training Technology
All
Center.
right, Mr. Bruce, you got a
You
question?
wanna know why the kids up on the hill fighting? They gonna keep on.
Well, a month ago in the
Fine, couldn't they?
commission meeting, I mentioned the word House bill in regards to clean up at the cemetery and so forth.
Mhm.
I think my question tonight had more to do with transparency.
Okay.
In reading through the minutes when you introduced the budget last month at this meeting, I had a question regarding that budget, because it states that C management would operate at a 25% reduction from what they've been charging.
Mhm.
And my question was the cemetery board included in that discussion or decision? And then I have another question. The budget also states a records administrator would be contracted for the cemetery.
Mhm.
And the questions are, did anyone on this committee participate in the interviews of that person? Was the cemetery board included in that process? And I'm aware that Ms. Charmaine Frazier, chair of the cemetery board, has asked Mr. Mitchell for a copy of the applicant's resume and qualifications since May. And at the last cemetery board meeting, that request had been fulfilled. So just curious as to when is the cemetery board going to, in a sense, be allowed to do what they're supposed to do? And even if it's not there yet, ready to hand off to them, why aren't they participating in preparation for that?
Thank you. Mr.
It
Singh?
makes sense.
Yeah. To say, I was on the interview with the young lady who, the records person. She did interview once before. But if you go back, when the cemetery was in all disarray and board didn't know what to do, and the city's hands was tied because the autonomous of the board and stuff. It was an agreement that came sometime afterwards between the board and the city to have the city manager help with some things and gave them certain authorities to try to get the cemetery back to a place where it would take care of itself. That's what it was designed to do. But it got so far in the hole, that it needed some help, and so it was an agreement with that board and with the city. I kind of believe it did come through city commission. I believe I don't know if we were still doing the virtual meetings or what, but I do remember some type of agreement between that board and the city to allow the city to help and get certain things done.
Until they can.
Yeah, till it get back on its feet and whichever way it decide to go. If it's, it might be a time.
But we were still in emergency management mode then, and now we're
Yeah,
not.
but yeah, even after that, I mean, we got the bag was dropped on us, and we had to do something. I mean, because it all fell back on the city anyway. If the grass didn't get cut, or somebody's complaining about, somebody buried in the wrong spot and all that. Yeah, they could go to the cemetery board and say, hey, and we could have said, hey, we don't have nothing to do with that. Go to the cemetery board, but it still fall back. They looking for the city government to do something about it, and it definitely ain't easy. I mean, and it was some tugging back and forth. Records was just, the one guy, he's dead now, who was the superintendent out there, Mr. Tony Bernhardt. He kept records the old way on paper and stuff, and it faded out. Some of the stuff he kept in his head, So it was just a disarray, and it's, in order to get it back, it's definitely going to be some challenges, but to have a person out there who have some type of experience on how to get those records back and get them in the computers, into modern records, you got to have that. So,
at one time I was elected to that board until we realized I couldn't serve. And so, again, I'm still interested in helping. And so I think my focus now is more in helping the board understand what their role is and how they can take over doing what they're, supposed to be doing. And so that was just the reason for my question. So thank you.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you. All right, meeting adjourned.
wait a minute. You want to turn to me?
can't stay all night.
Can we look at